Introduction to Part 2 of your IELTS speaking test. In this video, I'm going to talk about the sort of questions that get asked in Part 2 of your test and how you can prepare and respond to them. This is extremely important because if you understand these things, you're going to be able to perform better in your test and get a higher score. Let's look at the requirement in Part 2. This is called the long turn. It's designed to last 3 to 4 minutes. At the start of Part 2, the examiner will hand you a booklet with a topic on it and a pencil and paper for making notes for your topic. You'll have 1 minute to prepare for the topic. The examiner will then ask you to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. You'll still have your topic booklet and pencil and paper. At the end of your answer, you may be asked 1 or 2 rounding off questions. You should keep your responses to these brief. Let's now look at some strategies and suggestions for this part of the test. One of these is to tell a story. Stories can be really useful to extend your answers. They usually have beginnings, middle parts, and endings. So this allows you to speak at length during Part 2. Think about people, places, and things. Even if your topic is something like an activity, you can talk about the people you do the activity with, the place you do the activity, and possibly something you use to do the activity. You can talk about different time aspects for the topic, such as past, present, and future. With my example of an activity, you could talk about doing the activity in the past, doing it now, and how you will do it in the future. Make up things to extend answers and show language to the examiner. Alright, so in Part 2 of the test, we do things a little bit differently. In Part 1, I was emphasizing question types. We do have question types for Part 2 as well, but really what I'm doing is I'm focusing on different themes of questions. Okay, so what are the common themes for Part 2? Well, just about every question in Part 2 of the test falls under one of these 5 themes. And what are these themes? People, places, things, activities, experiences. Look at almost any question and you'll see that it can fit under one of these categories. And then there's overlap between these categories. If we're talking about an activity, we might be talking about who we do the activity with, where we do the activity. So far we've already got the people and places. What we do the activity with. Maybe we use our smartphone. So we can see that while talking about an activity, we may be drawing upon people, places, and things. Really, those are the 3 main ones. If you had to pick 3 to focus on, people, places, and things, I'm a big fan of focusing in on those things. So what do we want to do in Part 2? Well, the first word is always describe. You're always asked to describe something. So what I'm doing in these videos in Part 2 is I'm giving you the vocabulary, language, especially adjectives for dealing with people, places, things, activities, and experiences. What do I mean by adjectives? You want high-level adjectives. If we're talking about a person, we can describe them as an extrovert, an outgoing person, or an introvert, a shy person. So this is what I mean. You should be able to use one of these words, introvert or extrovert, somewhere in your model answer for your Part 2, somewhere in the answer that you prepare for Part 2. Okay, so you're showing the examiner language, and I think that part 2 is the best place to show language to the examiner. It's quite easy to prepare adjectives for these 5 themes, especially the first 3: people, places, things, activities, experiences. Okay, so in part 2, there's a heavy focus on adjectives that you can use for describing things. Remember, every question starts with the word describe. So it only makes sense to have lots of adjectives. And when I say lots, we don't need too many. 6 adjectives for describing a person would be enough. Even just 2, introvert, extrovert, you can use one of those words every time. Maybe you can use both. If you're describing your best friend, you can say your best friend is an extrovert, and then describe yourself as being an introvert. The key thing is not learning a lot of vocabulary, it's learning a very useful limited range of vocabulary that you practice before your test using, and then that comes out in your test. If you try and learn too much vocabulary, the problem is that you'll forget a lot of it and you won't be well practiced in using it, and you may use it incorrectly. So key focus in part 2 is showing language. We want to be able to speak for 2 minutes ideally. 1.5 minutes is probably enough. If you found this video useful, please subscribe to my channel so you can get all the updates for new videos that I'm making. As well as this, I'll put a couple of links at the end of this video to similar videos that you might like to check out and watch as well. Good luck with your studies.